So a lot of you may not know this about me, but I'm a huge Godzilla fan. Starting from 2014 onward, I've been a huge Godzilla fan, and I really do love the character. After I saw the first movie by Gareth Edwards in 2014 at like 10 a.m. on Thursday, I was with my mom, and every time Godzilla was on screen, my jaw dropped, and she just started laughing, because this movie really was a huge impact on me. I really did love this movie. It really made me look at film differently. And now, with this movie, I feel like I have to talk about it. I feel like I can't just completely forget about it. I also loved Kong, too, so I think I have some sort of reason to be here and talk about these movies. So from starting now, I mean, I'm going to be talking about Godzilla, King of Monsters, until release, and then afterwards I'm going to continue coverage of the MonsterVerse, because of course we still have that Godzilla versus Kong movie that's going to be happening. So let's get into this theory real quick. The theory goes that in the movie we really see, well, actually in the trailer we see King Ghidorah, we see Rodan, we see Mothra, we see Godzilla. The way we see these characters is very important, because we see King Ghidorah as someone who's a destructive figure, we see Rodan as someone who's a destructive figure, but when we look at Mothra and Godzilla, they are the two peaceful ones that the humans seem to be going after first to try to get their help. And it seems like they're going to be getting their help, especially when their characters, especially when a woman character goes up and touches the monster's face. It usually is a good sign for the monster that it's a good person. You know what I mean? A good person. No, it's a good monster. You know what I mean? You know, the same thing happened with Kong. Brie Larson's character walked up to him and touched his face. Of course, Millie Bobby Brown's character is going up and touching Mothra's face. So I feel like Mothra's going to be a good character. Now, the theory goes that Godzilla and Mothra are going to team up to face off against Rodan and King Ghidorah in some acts in the film. Like, honestly, I think that it would be like the second act where they would face Rodan, and then the third act where they face, of course, King Ghidorah. The first act would be setting up all of these huge monsters in all these different locations and setting up all of their origins and what they're all about. Now, if this is true, it would make sense, because they are the only peaceful forces in this movie trailer that we've gotten. They are the only ones that are shown with elegance and peace, while King Ghidorah and Rodan are shown in destructive forms. Like, we see Rodan literally flying over a place and destroying everything. We see King Ghidorah literally blowing holes through buildings and shit and flying like he's a demon. Like, there is some very cool imagery here that really hints to what we are going to be expecting in terms of the fight scenes and maybe even the team-ups in here. And if it's not going to be Mothra and Godzilla and stuff like that, which it should be, because in the Showa era, there's always, every time King Ghidorah gets on screen, there's always the team up between the monsters. It always happens. First it was Mothra, but then she died, and then of course Rodan and Godzilla teamed up to go take him down, and then that happened again in another movie, and then all of the monsters went after King Ghidorah when he returned. So like, it's a very common occurrence for these monsters to be teaming up to go after King Ghidorah and kill him. So if that's the case, I don't know why they would change that at all for this movie. And honestly, Mothra, I don't think they're going to turn Mothra into a horrible, destructive force of nature. I think they're going to turn her into one of course, Godzilla's, I guess you could say, species of protectors, because that's what he is. He's a protector of Earth. He stops these monsters from destroying these cities. And I think Mothra has the same exact objective as him, so it would make sense for them to team up and go after King Ghidorah. Rodan is the one that I'm having trouble trying to pin to somebody. I don't see him really teaming up with King Ghidorah, and that's where this theory falls apart. But where I could bounce it back is where, of course, I could say Godzilla and Mothra versus King Ghidorah versus Rodan, and have Rodan be a completely separate force, and have it be a 2-on-1-on-1, and just have it be completely chaotic. I don't think that's going to happen. I personally think that Godzilla and King and Mothra are going to team up in Act 2 to take down Rodan, and then, of course, the final battle, the final boss battle, is going to be against King Ghidorah in the third act, and then Mothra is going to die, and then King Ghidorah is going to die after Godzilla kills him, and then boom, we have Godzilla still alive, just to set up the Kong movie, which would be so cool. It all makes sense. It all fits together actually pretty perfectly when you look at it, and in terms of storytelling, you can really pull off some emotional stuff with Mothra if you want to make that monster, that kaiju, more of an emotional kaiju, you know, like Godzilla. Like, when Godzilla was doing his stuff in 2014, you can see emotion on him. You could see character. So if they want to do that with Mothra and make her more of a sacrificial character that's willing to sacrifice herself to save, her partners, her teammates, her humans. I mean, that just seems like that would be something that Mothra would do in this universe. And the fact that she's already peaceful with humans, she's letting them touch her. I mean, I feel like Mothra is going to be A-okay in this movie, and she's going to be teaming up with Godzilla at the end somewhere, or maybe even in the second act. I'm willing to just bet money on it. So thank you guys for watching. That's all I had to say about that theory. I personally think it's a true theory. It's either going to be 2-on-2 or it's going to be 2-on-1-on-1. Either way, it's going to be very epic, and it's going to be very cool. And the reason why Rodan is just this crazy force out of nowhere, it's just like, he's the most unexpected out of all of them. You really just don't really expect him to be there. It just doesn't really, it surprised me when they announced Rodan instead of like just 3 monsters. They announced 4, and 3 of them being the biggest characters in Godzilla's mythos. So, I think that it's going to be a great movie. I think that there's going to be some amazing fight scenes, and of course, I think that there's going to be team-ups and partners that it's going to be very unique throughout the film. So, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more Godzilla videos like this, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.